At the African mercenary quarters, we see some French soldiers who are being briefed on their enemy leader Mazelin, who has arrived at Sector Y for an on-site visit. Now, we move to the French commander who is telling his soldiers about the importance of this mission as they definitely need to apprehend Mazelin. The number of soldiers recruited for this mission are 49, which will be divided amongst 5 groups. However, they are up against a troop of around 350 and 500 soldiers, which is bad enough, but to make it worse, they won't have any air support either. A soldier named Kang Chan is asked by his buddy as to what's going on, but he tells him to be quiet because he needs to listen to the mission briefing with clarity. The French commander goes on to explain that the mission is not to defeat these 500 soldiers and take over the area, but rather to kill Mazelin and cease fire the moment that happens. Chan is asked the same question once again, but the French commander singles him out and scolds him in front of all the other soldiers. He tries to act tough, but then Chan gives him permission to continue with the briefing as if he is the boss here. The French commander lets this slide for now, because today apparently seems to be a special day. Anyway, the French commander ends the meeting and is met with a loud cheer by his soldiers. Now, we move to the nighttime where we see the French truck moving towards the enemy base. In the truck is also our hero who looks on with intent as he approaches his target. However, the other soldiers don't seem to share his enthusiasm as all of them are shown to be sleeping like little babies. The truck abruptly comes to a halt, and this wakes up everyone, after which the French commander shows up to tell them this is as far as they can go on the truck. He then tells the soldiers that they can enjoy a smoke right now if they want, because they won't get this luxury after 5 minutes. Chan is revealed to be the captain of the attacking team, and he lights up a smoke, but is interrupted by a blonde soldier named Smith, who seems to be playful and suggests having some fun. Chan is against the idea, and he says that everyone should just focus on the task at hand rather than unnecessary nonsense. Smith gets the message and lets Chan complete his smoke, after which the soldiers set out on their mission into the spooky jungle. Chan leads the way as the soldiers walk through the twigs and the leaves as they approach the enemy base. Now, Chan signals the men to stop as he can see something ahead of him. There's nothing to worry about as such, but the thing is that Chan can feel a sense of uneasiness about the mission. He isn't able to put his suspicions into words yet, so he is asked by Smith as to what's going on. Chan simply says that he had a bad hunch, but Smith makes fun of him by saying he's scared of the creepy jungle. Chan clearly doesn't want to engage in such silly talks, so he tries to change the subject, but Smith isn't one to leave such a chance to poke fun at his captain. However, the fun and games don't last for long as Smith gets shot by a bullet and falls to the ground. This is just the beginning, as a barrage of bullets are fired upon the team, and they are forced to take cover to avoid Smith's fate. A tense sequence follows, as the soldiers hide behind some trees and try to avoid the bullets being fired at them. It's hectic and filled with destruction, as the bullets destroy everything in their immediate path. In the middle of the chaos, Chan tries to drag Smith to safety, but it's too late for the blonde Joker, as he is very close to passing away, much to our hero's dismay. Upon further introspection, Chan realizes that the enemy is also using grenade launchers, and it doesn't seem to make any sense. However, he doesn't have time to play guessing games right now, as he needs to look out for his team. He confirms with the others if they're okay, and then he states that their cowardly enemies have been waiting for them this whole time. It's at this very moment that an enemy jeep pops out of the jungle, filled with rogue soldiers. Chan isn't one to let a challenge hinder his mood, so he brings out the big guns and fires at the enemy without mercy. He takes down quite a few of them in the jeeps. While our hero dominates the enemy team, he looks back at Smith and asks him if he needs morphine. This word manages to grab Smith's attention, but he says that he's not interested in any morphine. He then asks his captain how he's looking, even though we can see that his face is bleeding and his end is near. Chan knows that Smith's organs have been damaged and he's losing too much blood, but he puts on a brave face and tells Smith that it's just a scratch. However, the reality of the situation is that our hero and his team are still under attack by the enemy soldiers, and Smith is in no condition to operate. Chan has to make a decision now, because the only way he can save his blonde comrade is if he and his soldiers fall back. Smith sees the look on his captain's face and realizes what's going on, so he smiles and tells him to do what he needs to do. Chan doesn't agree to Smith's suggestion, and instead, he starts shouting at him and asks if he knows who he is. Smith is unable to answer this question, given his wounds, so our hero decides to do the honors and declares himself as the god of Blackfield. He strikes an ominous pose and gets ready for action. But then another grenade is launched at him and Smith, causing an explosion right next to them. Chan laments the state of the battle they're in. Things go from bad to worse, as another soldier gets shot and is badly wounded. Chan sees this and worries for him, but is told not to stress on him and focus on the battle. Our hero gets annoyed by the enemy soldiers, so he refuses to abandon the mission and says that his team is very close to the headquarters. Now, Chan takes his gun and angrily charges at the enemy with brute force. However, just as he's about to unleash God mode, he gets shot in the head by a sniper from behind. Our hero falls to the ground and is shocked to realize that he is nearing his end. Before he closes his eyes for good, Chan realizes that someone has betrayed him in his own camp and wonders who it could have been. In an abrupt twist of fate, our hero suddenly wakes up to a doctor who is speaking to him in Korean. This doesn't make any sense to Chan, but then we see him in a hospital room with the doctor and a nurse named Kim. Our hero is unable to make any sense of the situation, and that's when it's revealed that he's not in his own body. It turns out that he is currently in the body of a man named Kang, and then we see the doctor rushing to him out of joy and relief. The doctor claims that our hero managed to survive his injury and recover from them quickly due to his age. He also assumes that Chan is working out, but our hero is still wondering what the hell just happened with him. He looks at the doctor with the strongest hint of confusion, and the doctor states that he still needs to be careful regarding his recovery process. Chan demands to know where he is, and that's when the doctor explains that he's in Gangnam, South Korea. The doctor asks his nurse to go and inform Chan's guardian about his recovery, but the captain wants to know who brought him all the way to Korea. The doctor assumes that somebody must have dialed the emergency number, but Chan doesn't like these games that are being played with him, so he angrily demands a serious answer. The doctor and the nurse are a little confused by his behavior, and they wonder if he's being delirious because of being unconscious for over 3 days. Chan simply scolds the doctor for speaking nonsense, and he's about to give him an honest piece of his mind. Chan rushes to the mirror, despite the doctor's warnings, and finally realizes that he is not Chan, but Kang. He panics and asks the doctor what's going on, but then we move forward to the future where we see Chan in a luxury car driving him through the city. He tells us that he's learned a few things after staying in the hospital for a few more days. He states his name, confirming that he remembers his time as the captain of the French mercenary team. He also remembers that he was shot and killed in battle during the African War, but this was back in 2016. And now, he's in South Korea in the year 2019. On top of that, he has switched bodies with another person whose name also matches his own, but of course, is a different human. Kang is actually only 19 years old and is in his last year of high school. It turns out that Kang had jumped off the roof of his school building, which led him to be in a coma for 3 days. However, instead of Kang, it was Chan who woke up in his body, and he is now living his life. Chan looks at a woman named Yu, who is Kang's mother, so she obviously believes that Chan is her son. Present with them is also Kang's dad, D, who doesn't want Yu to rush their son because the doctor did mention that it will take some time for his memories to return. Chan refers to Kang as a body and gets to know more about the life he has inherited. His parents definitely seem to be wealthy, as they have a nice car and a luxurious apartment on the 7th floor. Chan enters this house, but doesn't know where to go, so D points out to his room and then he goes inside. Kang's mom and dad are a little worried about their son's memory, but Chan is more interested in his room, which is so much better than what he had during his time as a commander. Now, Chan sits next to the computer and tries to start it, but is upset to learn that he needs a password to access it. Then, he takes a look at his phone, but even that requires a password. This is a little annoying for Chan, as he wants to get onto the internet, but then he realizes that the phone has a fingerprint scanner, so he uses his new body to get inside Kang's phone. Chan starts off by typing in the African War, but it doesn't fetch any results. He wonders if this is because he typed the words in Korean, so he tries English, and then French. There isn't much data to go by, but then a boy named Lee texts Chan, asking him if he got discharged. Our hero assumes that Lee is a friend of Kang, so he says yes and proceeds with his research. However, he's in for a surprise when Lee answers by stating that he should have reported to him first. He also asks if Kang wanted to die so badly, and this only confuses Chan, so he decides to ignore Lee and move ahead with his research so that he can get to the bottom of the mystery he's been plunged into. Lee doesn't like this, so he taunts Chan for ignoring him, but our hero simply replies by saying he's busy, and then he carries on with what he's doing. However, Lee can't be patient anymore, so he calls up Chan, and our hero has no other option but to answer it. Lee begins a screaming session and scolds Chan, but he simply laughs and it annoys Lee even more. He openly challenges Chan, thinking that Kang has become brave after his time in the hospital. The reincarnated captain doesn't have time to entertain this character, so he hangs up despite Lee stating that he will confront him if he does so. Our hero prays that Lee doesn't call him again, so he blocks him immediately. And as expected, this makes Lee furious. He angrily throws his phone and breaks it in front of his friends, who are all on top of a school building. Lee's friends ask him why he would break something he just bought a couple of days ago, but he says that he'll just get Kang to buy a new phone for him because he's used to leeching off his family's wealth. Lee eagerly awaits Kang's return to school so that he can bully him again, and then we see Chan, who is disappointed because he cannot find any information on the war in Africa. He wonders if this is because of some security reasons, but he can't quite wrap his head around it. Our hero doesn't want to fry his brain for too long, so he figures that he should step out for a quick smoke. He looks around Kang's room, hoping to find some cigarettes, but is unable to locate anything of use and laments the fact that he is in the body of a school nerd. After some more looking around, Chan finds a secret compartment where he spots a secret diary. He takes a look at the contents of the diary and is shocked to see all the notes written in it. It is here where we learn that Kang was getting seriously bullied by Lee and his friends in the most brutal manner, and it led him to have some dark thoughts, as can be seen in the text Chan is reading. However, instead of showing any sympathy, Chan comments on Kang's amateur behavior as he believes the nerd should have just killed his bullies in secret rather than venting about it in a diary. All this drama makes our hero tired, and since he doesn't have anything to smoke, he falls asleep in bed and passes out for the whole night. Then, we move to the next day when Chan is being driven to school by D, and things are awkward as our hero doesn't make any conversation with him. D asks Chan if this is the right decision for him, because he still needs time to rest, but our hero states that he'll be fine, and then they bid farewell for the day. D drives away, and Chan makes his way to school, but he looks at the building and is presented with yet another problem. He doesn't know where his classroom is, so he has to play a guessing game once again. He awkwardly walks into the school and isn't given any attention by the other kids. Chan could really use a helping hand right now, but he gets the complete opposite of that when Lee calls out to him. This alerts everyone in the school, establishing the fact that Lee is a known bully here. He tries to act tough and tells Chan that he's grown some balls of steel during his time at the hospital, but our hero simply laughs at him after realizing that this is the weirdo he cut the call on yesterday. This doesn't go down well with Lee, so he approaches Kang in a threatening manner and asks him if he hit his head against a concrete pillar. These words have no effect on Chan, as he actually considers making Lee his assistant. The blonde bully hears this and is surprised by what he's just heard, implying that a very interesting conversation is going to follow. Like, share, and subscribe if you want me to continue the story. Hit the bell icon and get notified whenever I upload a new video. I'll see you soon.